I want you to picture this moment sitting in traffic, coffee cooling, stress rising before your workday officially begins. If this feels familiar, you are not lazy, broken, or bad with money, despite what society implies today. My name is Max, and I study why people with decent jobs still feel stuck financially everywhere today. Before we continue, gently tap, like if mornings already feel exhausting before any real work happens each weekday morning. That small action helps this video reach others quietly questioning their finances without feeling ashamed or judged publicly. Leave a comment sharing which state you are watching from because money pressure feels different across America today. And consider subscribing if calm, realistic conversations about money help you think more clearly long-term without hype. Today, I want to explain why your daily commute might be silently costing you thousands every year financially. Not just time or stress, but real money disappearing without ever appearing on your budget or bank statements. Most people believe their biggest financial problem is simply earning too little money at work these days now. Yeah. But what if the real issue is how expensive it actually is to keep that job long term? We are taught to judge jobs by salary numbers, not by the hidden costs attached to daily life. I want to tell you about someone I call James, whose situation mirrors millions of working Americans today. James lives about 45 minutes away from the city where his office job sits every weekday morning. He earns a salary that sounds respectable and feels like proof he is doing things right financially speaking. When James does the math, he believes he earns around $30 per hour before considering hidden costs. That number feels comforting, especially when compared to friends earning much less money in similar industries today now. James drives a reliable car, packs lunch often, and believes he is financially responsible with his daily habits. From the outside, James looks disciplined, stable, and seemingly on track with his finances according to appearances alone. But James is making one common mistake that quietly drains far more than he realizes over many years. I want to break down this mistake slowly so anyone listening can understand without finance jargon or complex math. It starts with the assumption that salary equals earning power, which ignores everything required to show up daily. The first hidden cost most people ignore is taxes, which quietly reshape every paycheck before money reaches you. Federal, state, and payroll taxes reduce income immediately, making your impressive salary far smaller than expected each year. When you calculate take-home pay, your hourly rate already drops before considering commuting expenses at all today. But taxes are only the beginning of the problem, and the numbers get much worse very quickly afterward. You do not magically appear at your desk every morning without effort, money, or time invested by yourself. Getting to work requires a car, fuel, insurance, maintenance, repairs, and constant wear that adds up fast financially. Most people call these normal life expenses, but they exist primarily because commuting is required for employment purposes. If you did not commute daily, you would not need the same vehicle or coverage levels at all. Assigning even part of those car costs to work changes your income calculation dramatically over the entire year. Once you do that, your hourly wage quietly shrinks without you changing jobs or hours at all there. And we still have not counted the most expensive cost of all, which is time every single day. Time spent commuting is unpaid labor you perform daily for your employer without compensation or recognition whatsoever given. Those minutes add up into hundreds of hours each year that you never get back for yourself again. When you include commuting hours, your real hourly pay drops much lower than expected on paper initially advertised. Longer commutes create hidden pay cuts that feel invisible because they happen slowly over time every year consistently. No manager emails you about this pay cut because it never appears on payroll documents or contracts signed. Eventually, you arrive home, exhausted, not unmotivated, just mentally drained from the entire process every single weekday evening. That exhaustion quietly influences spending decisions, setting the stage for even more financial leakage over time consistently monthly. When energy runs low after commuting, convenience begins replacing intention in ways most people never consciously notice. Cooking feels impossible, so takeout, drive-through meals, and expensive prepared foods suddenly feel justified and necessary. I call this exhaustion spending. And it quietly drains money because tired brains prioritize relief over long-term plans. These small daily choices rarely feel dramatic, but over months they add thousands to yearly expenses easily. Exhaustion spending is not a discipline failure, it is a predictable response to chronic stress and limited time. Commuting also steals opportunity costs, which most people never include when evaluating career decisions realistically. Every hour in traffic is an hour not spent learning skills, exercising, resting, or building something valuable. Over a year, those lost hours could meaningfully change income, health, or overall life satisfaction dramatically. Instead, those hours disappear behind brake lights, podcasts, and the same radio jokes every morning endlessly. Another hidden cost of commuting is psychological stress. which slowly reshapes how your brain makes decisions. Traffic increases cortisol levels, creating chronic tension before work even starts each day consistently. You begin mornings already frustrated, which lowers patience, focus, and emotional control throughout the entire workday. This stress contributes to decision fatigue, making impulse purchases feel like deserved rewards rather than mistakes. Late-night online shopping, premium coffee, and subscriptions slowly pile up as coping mechanisms for exhaustion. Commuting stress also affects physical health, which introduces long-term financial consequences most people underestimate. Sitting daily increases blood pressure, weight gain, and medical costs while reducing motivation for exercise. Health insurance premiums, prescriptions, and unused gym memberships quietly add to commuting-related expenses annually. These costs feel unrelated to work, yet they stem directly from daily stress and time loss. When you connect these dots, the commute begins looking like a financial system, not an inconvenience. And this system quietly punishes hardworking people while convincing them the problem is personal failure. To make this clearer, I want to compare James with someone living a very different working reality today. Her name is Sarah, and her story reveals why salary alone rarely determines financial progress over time realistically. Sarah earns less on paper but works close to home in a job fitting her lifestyle well intentionally. She bikes when weather allows and drives an old paid-off car without stress or debt pressure ever. Her transportation costs stay low, leaving more money, energy, and time available daily for her life goals long term. Sarah gets home earlier with enough mental space to cook, learn, exercise, and rest consistently after workdays. When we calculate effective hourly pay, Sarah surprisingly earns more than James does overall each year, consistently long term. James earns a higher salary yet keeps less once commuting costs and time are included fully honestly together. This gap grows wider every year because Sarah invests savings while James treads water financially long-term slowly. Location quietly compounds wealth advantages or disadvantages more powerfully than many salary raises ever will alone realistically today. I call this the geographic wealth gap, and most people never factor it into decisions early enough seriously. Career advice often pushes higher pay without questioning distance stress or hidden lifestyle costs involved daily long-term. That advice worked decades ago when housing was cheap and commuting costs stayed manageable for families everywhere then. Today, rising fuel, housing, and healthcare costs make long commutes far more damaging financially for workers nationwide now. Yet many people still chase promotions requiring longer drives, believing sacrifice equals success automatically forever, culturally ingrained thinking. I have seen promotions that raise salaries while secretly lowering effective hourly pay over time consistently instead overall. Longer commutes drain mornings, evenings, health, and relationships, not just bank accounts either, over time gradually daily lives. When work consumes nearly all waking hours, life becomes compressed, stressful, and financially inefficient for most people today. This is why chasing the biggest paycheck can quietly sabotage long-term wealth-building efforts for families everywhere. Understanding this changes how you evaluate job cities and the true cost of work decisions moving forward thoughtfully. The real danger appears when longer commutes feel temporary but slowly become permanent parts of your life, daily routines. Many people accept distant promotions believing future raises will offset costs that quietly keep rising over time annually. Instead, expenses accelerate faster than income while time, energy, and health erode simultaneously for commuting workers everywhere today. Eventually, you feel trapped, unable to downshift because lifestyle commitments depend on that paycheck entirely now each month. This is how commuting turns flexibility into fragility without announcing the change to your finances' long-term stability. So, what can you do if quitting and relocating tomorrow is unrealistic right now for most people today? The first move is negotiating remote or hybrid work. Like your financial future depends on it right now. Even partial remote days can dramatically reduce fuel wear stress and unpaid commuting hours each week significantly overall. The second move is weaponizing your commute instead of surrendering it to frustration and boredom. Daily cycles endlessly. Audiobooks, courses, and intentional learning can convert dead time into future earning potential for motivated workers today, everywhere. The third move is eliminating exhaustion spending by planning meals and routines ahead during calmer weekends consistently now. Batch cooking and simple systems remove daily decisions that drain money when energy is low after work hours. These changes will not feel exciting, but they quietly restore control over finances, time, energy, and confidence gradually. Most people search for raises when what they need first is reducing invisible financial leaks at work daily. You do not need to hate your job to question what it truly costs you long-term financially. Sometimes the fastest way to feel richer stopping automatic pay cuts disguised as normal commutes today everywhere. Every morning drive is a small financial decision repeated thousands of times across your career lifespan, quietly compounding. When you calculate work costs, honestly, priorities begin shifting quickly and clearly in your decision-making process today. You start valuing time geography and sustainability alongside salary numbers when evaluating opportunities moving forward long-term strategically. That perspective does not just improve wealth, it improves life quality overall for you and your family long-term. Before we end, I want you to rethink how you measure success in your career decisions long-term. Salary is visible, but costs are hidden, which makes comparison dangerously misleading for most workers today everywhere now. I encourage you to calculate effective hourly pay, including taxes, commuting time stress, and energy loss factors honestly. Those numbers feel uncomfortable, but clarity is the first step toward rebuilding control and confidence over your finances. When you see the math clearly, you stop blaming yourself and start adjusting systems instead around your life. This mindset shift separates people who stay stuck from those who slowly regain momentum over their careers long term. You do not need perfect circumstances, only awareness, intentional choices, and patience over time while making changes gradually. Small geographic adjustments can outperform massive raises when repeated consistently year after year across your working lifespan. I am not telling you to quit tomorrow, but to start asking better questions about cost trade-offs today. Where you work, how you travel, and how much energy remains afterward truly matters for long-term wealth. If this video helped you see your commute differently, consider sharing it with someone you care about today. Leave a comment with your daily commute time, because awareness often starts with simple honesty about reality today. And subscribe for more calm, practical conversations about money work and building sustainable wealth without hype or pressure. I make these videos to help you think clearly, not feel guilty or overwhelmed about your financial life. Your job should support your life, not slowly drain it through invisible daily sacrifices that compound over years. Once you recognize the commuter trap, you gain power to redesign your path intentionally with clarity and purpose. That awareness may feel uncomfortable, but it opens doors you could not see before within your current choices. Remember, wealth is built quietly through decisions repeated daily, not dramatic overnight changes made with intention and patience. Every mile, every minute, and every habit either helps or hurts your future self more than you realize. Thank you for spending time here today, and I will see you in the next video very soon. Even after this video ends, your commute will still exist, but your awareness of its cost will be different. Awareness does not instantly fix problems, but it prevents repeating the same mistakes unconsciously for years ahead. Many people never question commuting because it feels normal, expected, and socially rewarded by career culture today. Normal does not mean healthy, sustainable, or financially smart, especially when repeated daily for decades. When you stop normalizing stress, you begin recognizing which parts of life deserve redesign and protection. Money problems often hide inside routines that feel unavoidable but actually contain more flexibility than assumed. Commutes expand to fill available time unless you actively challenge them with intentional boundaries and planning. The goal is not perfection, but reducing unnecessary sacrifice that delivers little long-term return. Each small improvement compounds quietly, just like the costs you are now learning to see clearly. Over time, these adjustments restore energy, clarity, and optimism, which directly influence better financial decisions. You may notice patience returning, evenings feeling lighter, and weekends becoming less about recovery. Those subtle changes signal that your system is improving, not just your budget or spreadsheets. Financial progress rarely feels dramatic, but it often feels calmer, steadier, and more sustainable. That calm creates space for learning, creativity, and opportunities previously crowded out by exhaustion. This is how wealth mindset shifts from chasing numbers toward protecting time, energy, and optionality. Optionality gives you leverage, which matters more than raw income during economic uncertainty cycles. When life changes, you adapt instead of panic because your system contains breathing room. That breathing room begins with questioning what your job truly costs you each day realistically. Once you start asking that question, your financial decisions gain clarity, purpose, and long-term alignment. This is not about working less, but about working smarter for a life that actually fits you. If you feel uneasy right now, that discomfort is a signal, not a problem, and it deserves attention. Most financial breakthroughs begin with discomfort, because clarity often arrives before change feels comfortable or easy. I felt the same resistance when I first calculated what my own commute was truly costing me daily. At first, I wanted to ignore the numbers because they challenged stories I told myself about success. But avoiding uncomfortable math never made anyone wealthier or freer over the long run. Once I accepted reality, my decisions became simpler, even if they were not immediately easier. I stopped asking how to earn more and started asking how to lose less daily. That single shift changed how I evaluated jobs, housing locations, and time commitments permanently. You may not control everything, but you always control where attention and intention go. Small experiments like remote days, flexible hours, or relocation research can reveal surprising leverage points. Testing options is safer than staying stuck inside assumptions that slowly drain energy and money. You do not need permission to question systems that no longer serve your long-term goals. Financial maturity means choosing sustainability over appearances even when others do not understand initially. The quiet choices you make now shape how much freedom you experience later in life. Freedom grows when obligations shrink, and commuting is often one of the largest hidden obligations. Removing even part of that burden creates space for better health relationships and financial stability. Progress does not require dramatic moves, only consistent reductions in unnecessary daily friction. When friction decreases, motivation naturally increases without forced guilt or constant self-discipline. This is how systems beat willpower and why redesign matters more than motivation alone. Your future self benefits from every small decision you make with clarity starting today. If you reach this point, you already think differently than most people stuck, repeating the same financial patterns. Most never question routines because routines feel safe even when they quietly erode money, time, and health daily. Commuting is one of those routines normalized by culture, employers, and peers, despite its massive hidden cost today. Questioning it does not make you ungrateful, it makes you intentional about designing a sustainable life path. When you calculate true costs, you gain leverage because decisions become grounded in reality, not assumptions moving forward. That clarity helps you negotiate boundaries, ask better questions, and choose trade-offs with eyes open without regret later. You stop glorifying busyness and start valuing systems that protect energy consistency and long-term progress for everyone. This mindset compounds just like money, quietly shaping outcomes years before results become obvious to most people watching. Looking back, you will see fewer regrets about income and more pride about balance and control over life. Balance is not laziness, it is strategic sustainability applied to work, money, and personal well-being over decades. When systems support you, progress feels lighter, steadier, and far more repeatable across different seasons of life changes. That repeatability matters more than intensity because wealth is built through consistency, not heroic effort over many years. Your commute choice is one of the earliest systems decisions shaping that consistency for your entire working life. Treat it with the same seriousness you give investments, budgets, and career planning because stakes are just as high. Small daily savings of time, energy, and money compound into freedom faster than expected when protected intentionally long term. That freedom shows up as choices, options, and resilience during uncertainty rather than stress, panic, or forced compromises. I want you to remember this the next time traffic steals another hour from you without permission or compensation. You are paying a price whether you calculate it or not, and awareness lets you choose differently today. Choosing differently does not mean reckless change. It means intentional, gradual redesign aligned with your real priorities now. That is how you escape the commuter trap and build wealth that supports life instead of consuming it daily. If you take nothing else from this video, remember that awareness is the first real raise you can give yourself. Raises come and go, but understanding costs permanently changes how you protect your money, time, and energy daily. Most people chase higher salaries without questioning whether those numbers actually improve their lives meaningfully long term. You now know that income without efficiency often creates stress instead of security over many working years. This knowledge gives you a quiet advantage because most people never slow down enough to calculate reality. When others brag about paychecks, you will be calculating system sustainability and freedom instead of comparison games. That shift keeps you grounded when markets, jobs, or life circumstances inevitably change around you unexpectedly. Wealth is not built by squeezing harder, but by removing leaks that drain progress silently every single day. Commutes are one of the largest leaks hiding inside normal routines. Nobody teaches you to question early. Questioning them does not mean dissatisfaction, it means maturity, clarity, and respect for your future self. I hope this video helped you see your daily routine through a different, more honest financial lens today. If it did, consider sharing it with someone stuck in traffic right now, questioning their own situation quietly. Conversations like this spread slowly, but they create real change when the right people hear them. Leave a comment with one small change you could make to reduce your commute costs starting this month. I read those comments because they often reveal patterns and solutions worth exploring in future videos together. And if you value thoughtful discussions about money work and life, subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. My goal here is not to scare you, but to help you think clearly, calmly, and strategically. You deserve a financial life that supports your health, relationships, and goals, not one that quietly drains them. The commuter trap only works when it remains invisible, and now it no longer has that advantage. Thank you for staying with me, and I will see you again in the next wealth mindset conversation.